Hi, it's me JD and welcome back to my channel. Today I will be showing you a couple of different ways to do Eclipse cards. First, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Now we'll jump right in using script word dies. Script word dies are really easy to do Eclipse cards because it's all one piece. And so I have this really cool die here that says happy birthday on it. It's a little thinner and more delicate than I'm used to, but I really wanted to use it once I received it in the mail. So I ran it through twice in my die cutting machine just to make sure everything cut nicely. I'll use my craft pick to poke out all the extra pieces for this die cut. And then I will work on stacking these die cuts. I made about 4 or 5 of them using some heavyweight cardstock, so this will be nice and thick. And as for the card front, I'm going to cheat a little and use pattern paper. You can use pattern paper or you can make your own background. But I was running short on time, so I decided to use some 6x6 pattern paper from my crafty stash. I will poke out all of the pieces and then put this piece on top of my stacked die cuts that have been drying under my acrylic block. Then I'll attach this card front to my card base and then attach this little part too. And I realized that I accidentally threw away all the little goodies, like the middle of the O's and Y's to this die cut. I wasn't thinking, but I think this pattern paper is so pretty and so eye-catching that it just works anyway. So don't do what I did and throw away those extra pieces. But as you can see, the Eclipse card still has some impact to it. It just looks super cool with this pattern paper. The next way of doing an Eclipse card is to use alphabet dies. Now, alphabet dies require a little more work because you have to set up and lay out all of your letters. But with the use of a T-ruler, and I also include some tips in my other video about Eclipse cards. But once you have that, the process is pretty easy. And then I'll run this through my die cutting machine. And then this time I wanted to use glitter paper because hello, it's glitter. It's glitter without the mess. That's the most important thing. I previously die cut and stacked about 3 layers of letters for my sentiment. And once I peel my glitter letters off, I'm going to put my card front down on my new card base. And I'm going to use a combination of tape runner and adhesive to stick that on there nice and straight. And then I will put the glitter letters on top of the regular letters, but I like to put them a little offset so you see some dimension behind them. And then once that's done, I'm going to pop these back into my card front. And this card is just so sparkly. And I love that it did not take that much time at all. And yet you'd probably pay like $7.99 for this card at Papyrus. I mean, no hate to Papyrus, but I'm just saying, like, it just took, 2, 3, 4 pieces of cardstock and an alphabet die set, and the possibilities are endless. Granted, the alphabet die set cost a pretty penny, but anyway, moving on. So the next technique to doing Eclipse cards is to use multicolored layers. So I have my script die cut here, including my tittle. That's right, it's called a tittle. Watch my other video for more. And I have that cut, and I have some special plans for this die cut. So what I did previously is that I die cut it in 4 different colors, and I did about 3 layers of each color, and now I'm going to stack all of those different colors together to make a multicolored eclipse technique. And so when you look at it from the side, it just looks extra special because of all those colors. And I couldn't forget to do the tittle, of course, and I'm using my little my gem tool actually to stick that on there. It came in handy there. And then once that's done, I decided that all of these colors would look best on a white on white card. And so that's what I'm doing here. I'm just adding adhesive down so I can stick my stacked die cut in there. And this die cut, she's a thick. So this card probably wouldn't make it through the mail, but it's you can definitely hand deliver it, put it in a gift bag, what have you, and it packs some pop. The next method of making an eclipse card is to do a reverse eclipse, where I would use the negative part to stack. So what I'm doing here is I'm using that same alphabet die and putting it to good use because I spent good money on it. And I kept it very simple by just using the word hi. And I made sure to choose a word that doesn't have like stuff in the middle, like the letter O, or like a lowercase a or an uppercase a, and that'll just make this process easier if you choose to do it, or if you have the time, you can definitely choose those letters as well. And so what I'm doing is I put the die on the first layer of cardstock, and then I'm using the subsequent layer of cardstock as a guide to cut the subsequent layers of cardstock. And I'm just repeating the process about 5 or 6 times before I have a good layer, a good nice thick layer that I'm happy with. And the reason I did it so many times is because I'm using my cheap cardstock, because I didn't want to waste a lot of cardstock on this, because I didn't know if I would end up liking it. Anyway, I have my fine tip adhesive here, and you'll definitely need this for die cuts anyway, but it came in handy for all those tight spaces. And now I'm just stacking all of the negative pieces of my project together, and I'm kind of doing it in an ombre pink color, which I didn't plan to, but that was what was in my like scrap pile, so we're just gonna go with it. And then once I have my final layer on, I'm going to stack that on top of my card base, and I use glue, and glue made it kind of bumpy, made it kind of ripple, so I did not like that. And therefore I'm using tape runner now, which got on my desk and my table, and I gotta clean it. Okay, I'm distracted. Anyway, so I gotta stick it back on top of my card front just to have a more even layer and make it a little cleaner. And so I try to help that along, but you get the idea. And now I'm going to show you another way to do this with script dies. So with script dies, there was just too many thin pieces. So I used the outline of a script word die, and I think this created a better looking result, in my opinion anyway. The next technique I'm going to show you is to use background dies. So my trick for using background dies is to use pattern paper, regularly like printed pattern paper already. And instead of trying to piece together all of those little pieces like you would a regular Eclipse card, I'm going to show you a trick. So you just cut out 2 pieces of paper, you just die cut one of them, and then you place it on top of the other layer just untouched. So it's all one seamless transition. So what I did was I just cut plain cardstock with the same die, and then put those as my in-between layers, and you can't even tell. And so this is a great hack, if you will, to doing the Eclipse technique with a background die that you have. It wasn't until later when I realized, oh crap, I need a sentiment. So I have this really wafer thin die cut here, and I cut it in some gold foil to place along the side of it. Another way to add something special to your Eclipse card is to heat emboss the layers. So actually this is a 2-for-1 because I'm using a shape die to do the Eclipse technique. So you can definitely do the Eclipse technique with shape dies, with background dies. You don't necessarily have to use word or alphabet dies. And once I've got all of my layers stuck together, I'm going to stamp it in Versamark ink, and then dip it in some embossing powder, and I'm going to heat emboss it with my heat tool. And I'm going to repeat this process multiple times because I want as smooth a layer as possible. And so once I've got that, I'm going to stick my card front on, and this is the point I realized, hey, you should have cut off part of the heart too. Whoops. And now I have to go back and heat emboss that layer, but no big deal. It's okay. I like doing things twice. Not really. Well, really, the reason I leave this part in here is because I do want to show you guys new techniques, just to, give you guys some inspiration. But I leave all my mistakes in here because I want to show you the honest truth of at least my card making skills, is that I think I have some great idea that's going to be awesome. And then I figure it out along the way that there's a right way and a wrong way to do this. And I show you my mistakes because I don't want you guys to make the same mistake. I'll look like a fool and waste my time, but I don't want you guys to waste your time following the same techniques I'm doing. Really, this is all about you guys. That's what it is. My subconscious is thinking, what about the subscribers of It's Me JD? Okay, well, I hope you learned something today, or at least entertained, or delayed bedtime for another 10 minutes. Bye!